interview. Yes, okay. So, Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to today live interview. I am Fatima Businesswali and it is a great pleasure to have a very special guest with us today. Thank you, Laura, for taking the time to join us. We are excited to learn from your experience, your journey, and the valuable insights you have gained with helping people achieve their financial goal and their life dreams. So, welcome to the interview, and without wasting any time, let's start. So,
Okay.
yes, so please introduce yourself with our audience.
Hello, my name is Laura Lee Kenny. I live in New Brunswick, Canada, and I'm currently, I've had two careers prior. One of them for 25 years as a skincare and cosmetic consultant, and I had 123 representatives in my team. Then I transitioned. I was unfortunately hurt in a car accident, and I transitioned and went back to school to become a certified financial planner because when I got hurt, I did not have money reserves to look after me. I did not expect to be laid up for 3.5 years. And I didn't make some good judgments, some good plans with money. And we went much farther back. We slid back. And I knew that I needed to learn a lot about money. And what better place I thought when I was given the opportunity to get into finance, which I did for 25 years. And I had the pleasure to help people take care of their finances and be able to organize their money so that they had some money left over. They worked with the tax system in our country and in our province to make the best use of their money. And
Hmm.
near the latter end of it, I learned that, oh my goodness gracious, there's so much more to learn about money. It's just not dollars and cents. That's really only roughly 20% of dealing with your money. We needed to learn more about money, EQ, they call it. And what that means is the psychology of money, why we do what we do with money. That is 80% of what helps people succeed in whatever goals they want, no matter. And for me, I mainly talk about money.
Okay, so what inspired you to start helping people with their financial goals?
Well, first, I wanted to learn myself, and I didn't think about helping other people. But the people that someone came to my house and was suggesting I do certain things to save on taxes, which I was already doing some. And I found that they actually had some really basic information wrong. And when she realized she was wrong and she was out there giving information, she talked to her manager and asked if I could come to a meeting. And they immediately asked me if I would like to join their organization and help other people. And I thought, oh, okay, let's look and see what that looks like.
Okay, so my next question, what are the biggest financial mistakes people make in today life?
Oh my goodness. It really comes down to a couple of things. One, they don't look at their money situation. People have no idea what it takes to live where they live sometimes. Now, we lived paycheck to paycheck for a lot of years until I got into retirement planning and learning more about that. So, and part of that, we had a goal when we started. We had a goal to retire my husband early from his job because he saw his parents forced to retire and they got one little trip out of retirement after that before they couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything other than for a day or two. And what is the sense of working so hard and not being able to enjoy your retirement. So we thought in our 30s that if we could retire my husband at 55, because in Canada, that was the big slogan, retire at age 55. Well, it is very easy to do if you start early enough and you're disciplined with your goal. You have to have your main goal focused and remember that goal, because it's the emotion you get with that goal in order to stay committed to the goal. And in this case, you both have to. If it's a couple, you both need to be committed to that same goal, or else one will sabotage the other.
Okay. So, how can someone start building financial freedom with a limited income?
Well, first, I have a saying, and it's similar to a famous one out there, but it's more important for you to um, look at your finances. It's more important what you save and invest than what you earn, because I was meeting all kinds of people back in the 90s when I got into this. They were making six figures. So they were making over $100,000. This is like 30 years ago in their household. And yet they were strapped for cash. And the majority of people that declared bankruptcy were six-figure income families. And I was like, because I had a friend that worked in that area. I said, you got to be kidding me. I would have thought it would have been the people at low income. She said, no, they can't get the credit that higher income people can get. And a lot of times people with lower income know actually handle their money better than people that have decent incomes. It was quite surprising to me. But
Yes.
if you have a low income, the best thing you can do for yourself is educate yourself on your tax system in your country. And it was interesting when I first started with people retirement planning. Most of my clients, it ended up being pensioners. They just retired from a job and they had pension money. So I was quite fortunate. Later on, I was able to attract self-employed people, and they had a different attitude in life. Their attitude was, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to um, be open to having a better situation. They just had a different mindset. They were open, and most of them were coachable. When I would make suggestions, they would do it. Where the pensioners, they thought, I survived all this time doing what I've done. I'm going to continue to do what I can do, or what they normally would do. So
Mm,
for me, I suggest that you educate yourself as much as you can. And because of the internet, there is so much beautiful, free, valuable information out there. But once you change your mindset, and that's where the big goal is, to change your mindset that you want a better life. When you get that in you and get that in your brain, oh my goodness gracious, that's where things can change. Because when you do that, guess what happens? Opportunities show up that you didn't even think were possible.
mm, yes. Thank you so much for your such an amazing answer. So, my next question I want to ask: how important is mindset in achieving financial success?
Oh, I've alluded to that already. And statistics tell us it's 80% of how we succeed in our goals. 80%. Not the 20% that we know, but the 80% where we change our mindset and get clear on our goals. They keep telling us to get clear on our goals. Write out your goals and really look at them and say, okay, which one of these is important to me right now? You can have lots of goals, and there can be some short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. But then you prioritize which ones are. And when you align your values, and you can go online and ask Google to tell you the different values that you have. When you align your values with your goals, it is so much easier.
Okay. So, what message would you like to give young people who want to become entrepreneur?
Wow. I would say mentor with someone. See if you can mentor and learn from someone. I've involved with a couple of network marketing groups, and in them, they train their people on mindset along with business strategies. So there's lots of ways people can get mentored. They just have to get their mind open to opportunities. Maybe they can go work for somebody and tell that person, I would really love to learn what you're doing. Tell me what I need to do in order to make that happen. Sometimes it's just asking, letting the person that is the business owner or the mentor, telling them what their goals are.
Yes, absolutely right. So, what challenges did you face in your career and how did you overcome them?
Well, every entrepreneur is going to face some challenges. There
Yes.
doesn't seem, nobody seems to get away from that. And it doesn't matter if it's in business or in life, there's going to be challenges. And they tell us that when we can learn to control our emotions and just survey the situation and breathe and calm ourselves down, whether you're using your hands down on the vagus nerve uh, to calm down your body. There's lots of little tricks. Research Eden Energy Medicine. They do lovely free trainings all the time. There's many of them out there. But when we can calm our body down, then we can think more clearly. And that's probably one of the bigger things with oh, just a sec. People calling. Sorry about that. Um, when we can calm ourselves down, we can think more clearly and um, ask for guidance. If you know people that are older and you know that they've gone through the same thing, or you tell somebody what you're going through and say, could you give me some guidance? For some
Mm,
reason, we have this unfortunate thinking that we're the only people going through a problem and
mm,
it's up to us to figure it out. Well, sometimes
yes.
it can be cleared up really fast. One, maybe it's not as bad as you think, because most of the time we make it bigger in our own minds than it really is.
Yes, you are absolutely right. So, my next question, how can people balance their dreams with financial responsibilities?
How can they balance what, dear?
How can people balance their dreams with
The
financial
dream.
responsibility? Yes.
Oh, there's where we have to go back to being clear what it is we want. And I was taught for many years to live within my means because most of us, years ago, that's how most people lived. And that's the masses. Yet the people that control all the money, the 2-3% of the world, they don't think like that. They think, oh, how can I do something different to make more money or have more influence, get connected with certain people that will help me out to either cut down the expenses of my business or do a new product or a new service to earn more income. So lots of times it's our thinking that goes to it. And again, talk to some people, get some mentorship. And I know it's not easy at first, but one time I did an interview presentation with unemployed people, young people here in our community. And they were saying, "Oh, but you need money to start a business." I said, "Who says? You can decide that you will go do yard work, you will go do housework, you'll babysit, you'll do some things that do not cost you money to start your business. That might not be the ideal, but if you're looking for extra income, you could do house cleaning in addition, besides, like you could buy a mop and a broom and a bucket and some rags. That doesn't cost hardly anything. But probably the household you'd go to clean, they will already have that. So you don't even need that. You just have to get your mind thinking a little differently.
Yes, absolutely right. So, my next question, what is one lesson about success that everyone should learn?
Oh my goodness. First thing I want
Yes,
to say is be humble and gratitude
that's
for
really
what you
amazing.
have succeeded in doing. And for heaven's sakes, keep some of the money that you earned and put it to work so that it grows, because time is our biggest factor. That a little bit put away. We started off years ago with $50 a month. And let me tell you, in the early 80s, I thought that because we were living paycheck to paycheck, I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if we can do that. Well, after a year, the consistency of doing that, not that, and there was no growth in the money because it wasn't a GIC that earned nothing, but it was that we were consistently doing that. Um, and over time, we got so that we could do more and add more to it. And then all of a sudden, we had what we felt we needed for my husband to retire early. And we continued on that path. I got into financial planning. And guess what? I ended up with a retirement pension plan that I never expected to have because I was always self employed and I wasn't putting money away at first.
Okay. That's really amazing. And my next question, if you could go back and give one piece of financial advice to your younger self, what would it be and why?
Start early.
Yes.
Absolutely start early, but start with the mindset, learning to do a goal and a mindset, um, and having a long term goal with it. It's so easy when people start early to achieve things. Like it's just mind boggling. The little bit it takes, and just always
Okay.
keep re-educating yourself.
Hmm. Okay. Can you tell me about your study background?
My study patterns? Well, it's
Yes.
interesting. At first, I really didn't have them. I studied on whatever I needed for work. And then when you get into financial planning, you get into more into self-development. And they're always giving you different books to read and suggestions, trainings and stuff. And I've learned over time to learn to take care of me first, to make sure that
Yes.
I'm grounded and calm. So I do meditations and I do personal education always, I'm 67 and I still every day want to learn more.
Yes,
So
that's
it's just constant. But I love that. Not everybody does. But have they succeeded also? And there's
okay.
audiobooks out there. People do not read well, and some people don't. There's audiobooks out there. I get the book and I look at the words in the book and I listen. So I'm getting it two forms because I find when I just listen to the audio, sometimes my mind drifts off for something else. So for me, I need to look at the book if I can. That's not always the case for everybody, but really check out YouTube and Google and the libraries. Ask for mentorship. I love it when there's some programs when you'll have a senior get connected with a teenager and get talking about life.
Okay. So when you was young and you are student, so what is your dream when you are a student?
Well, it was interesting. First, I used to think I wanted to be a nurse, and then
Wow.
realized I didn't like the sight of blood very much. So that kind of squashed that a little bit. Then I decided that I was a natural teacher.
Mm,
And
okay.
so that's what I've done most of my life. Even though I sold skincare and cosmetics, people thought I sold
Mm,
lipstick. What I did was self-empowerment. Mainly women were
mm.
my clientele, but I did have some men that wanted nice skincare and stuff. But mainly I uplifted them and taught them that they were valuable, that they deserve to look after themselves. They might not have realized that, but I realized that's what I was doing. And I teach them if they would like to earn some extra money, I could show them how to do that. Then when I got into financial planning, I showed them how to take care of their money better. And now my goal is to teach more on the mindset and the financial literacy and show some people some ways to have passive income.
Yes, absolutely right. So, like when you are student, you have so many interests. After that, you choose financial woman. Yes,
Yes.
I'm
Well,
right.
in the meantime, I got married and had a couple of children, and I worked
Yes.
part time while I was doing that because I realized that I could be home with the children and work part time and still come out not as exhausted and roughly the same amount of money. Because people figured, oh no, you need to make this amount of money. But if you're paying a babysitter, you're traveling to and from work, you need money for lunches, you need different clothing to go to work, and then you're exhausted at the end of the day. How much farther ahead are you? So I used their tax system and I worked part time and succeeded. Now, I didn't give me a pension, mind you. So I had to deal with that later. But sometimes people aren't looking at the big picture.
Yes, right. So, my last question, my second last question. So, what is the biggest, like, yes, many people have big dreams but are afraid to take the first step. What advice would you give them?
Oh my goodness gracious. That's where changing our identity helps considerably. They tell us um, the pain of staying where you are needs to be greater than the fear of doing something different. And then it's easy, just like, okay, I don't want to be there anymore. Like I grew up in a household in Canada. There was no running water in the house till I was 9. And at that point, there was, I believe, 8 children, 7 or 8 children, until my father got enough money to expand the house, and then he took the pump was outside. He was able to put running water in the house and then do a bathroom. But people's like, you grew up in a house without running water? Yes. Did I survive? Absolutely. I call it pioneer life. You learn a whole lot of different skill sets when you grow up in that atmosphere. So I knew what it was like not to have the luxuries that 90% of my fellow students had. Did they know that we didn't have running water inside the house? No. We had to pump water, bring it in the house, put it on a stove, a wood stove. So you had to make a fire. It didn't matter if it was summer or not, to heat the water to be able to bathe and get cleaned up and do the laundry. Like the work that my mother had to deal with, and all us kids had chores. Like there was no such thing as going out and just playing. That was very rare. Everybody had to help.
Yes, absolutely right. So, my last question, what message would you give to our audience who listen our interview and you want to uh, everyone who listen our interview and remember our, like you would give message and everyone remember. What message would you give?
Well, as I had said earlier, to have gratitude for where you are, make a decision whether or not you want to change that. That's going to be up to you if you want to change that. And write your goals down. This idea of just, and say them out loud. It's really interesting. They tell us that if we write down, and not just in a phone or a keypad doing it, if we actually write it on a sheet of paper or in a book and look at it every day, that we're more apt to succeed and make those goals, achieve those goals, than somebody that just says, "Oh, I would love to be a millionaire." And they sit back and they wait for the lottery to win the lottery. Well, guess what? The
Yes.
majority of people, at least 70 to 80% of people that win money out of nowhere, whether it's a lottery or inheritance, if we did not learn how to deal with our money, guess what happens? Within 3 years, it's gone because we didn't learn to do good things with our money.
Okay. Yes, absolutely right. So, Leora, thank you so much for being with us today. It was truly a pleasure speaking with you. I really enjoyed this conversation and learned many valuable lessons from your experience, your insights, your journey, your positive mindset, and your advice about achieving goals and living a um, prosperous life have been incredibly inspiring. I'm sure our audience has also gained motivation and practical wisdom from everything you shared today. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me and for inspiring dream bigger, work harder, and believe in ourselves. I really wish continuous success, happiness, and property in all that you. Thank you once again, and have a wonderful day.
Have the best day ever.
Goodbye.